Welcome everyone. So there are a few new people here today. I guess 𝗕汐is joining us for the first time and Prabhakaran. So I will just brief a little bit about how these calls go. So these calls are open discussions. So obviously there will be some facilitation and certain things which we will be sharing from our sides. But we really appreciate interaction on these calls. So all of you are free to open up and talk. And if you have any questions, you want to share any experiences, you can just unmute yourself or raise your hand and you can talk. So we will keep it interactive and open. And um, yeah, that's all from my side. So we will begin the call. Akarma, anything you would like to say?
Uh, no, look, reading the conversation in the group, I feel that it's probably important that we establish this terminology of mother wounds and all that. So I think many people interpreted this more from a parenting point of view, like their parenting. So I feel that the conversation could actually go on a tangent if this topic is not understood properly. So it is about parenting, yes, but not our parenting for our kids, but how our parents parented us. So this is more to do with that rather than our parenting skills. And because a lot of conversation in the group was more around, I just went in that direction. So I feel that just to course correct it and bring it to the point here, the objective of this conversation is how the parenting style of our parents could affect us. And again, this is a general thing, so we are not actually pointing fingers at anyone's parents, father or mother over here. It is uh, just a thing, and wherever you guys click, wherever it makes sense, wherever you resonate, you can share your experience and comments on it. Let's keep this conversation practical. As you know, that many times we have mentioned in the group also, we prefer no gyanbazi kind of thing over here. Anything you want to share, that's fine as long as you share it from the angle that you have some personal experience about it or what you are talking. So just only talking about what this expert says or this book says and this and that, it's of not much use because we all have access to books and Google and videos and everything. We are more interested in personal experiences, personal comments, personal stories over here. That is the value proposition. That is what we want to bring to the table. Uh, Not so much interested in just discussing theories over here. So keep that in mind. It is more about that how the wounds inherited from mother or father, how they are now shaping our relationships as adults. So that's the context. So that's what I wanted to say.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Akarma. So yes, let's move ahead in this context. As Akarma very rightly said, that today's topic is about mother wounds and how they impact our relationship as adults. So we are talking about us and what is happening in our lives. So we are not talking about our parents. We are not talking about how we are as parents. Right now, we are talking about us as beings, as humans, and how it impacts our lives and how to heal with it. Like many people were asking in the group that what do we do with this? How do we heal from this? So we will talk about this. Now, starting with what are these mother wounds? So let's talk about that before we move forward. Now, any trauma that a mother has gone through in her life and she has not dealt with it and she has not never got a chance to heal from it or work on that trauma, and then that mother passes on the same trauma to the child, and that passing on to the child is not through words like reading a book or giving a lecture or anything like that. Children are like, little sponges. They absorb everything that is going around them. So how parents impart these education to the children is by how they deal with themselves, and what are the things that they say about themselves, and what are their actions, and how do they act and react. So throughout the whole functionality of the house, the whole environment, everybody, every person, every child, they start learning these things from a very young age. And we think that this learning happens when we are 2 or 3, but this literally starts even when we were just 6 months old. And still we were absorbing small things happening, how things are going around, because children are very observant. They are not living in their heads, they are in the present moment, and they are observing everything because they have still not gotten into the circle of this and that, and how everything operates and all that. So they have a lot of plenty of space. So likewise we absorb everything. And it's also, this session is also not about accusing our parents or just deciding this was wrong and this was right. No, the main point of doing this is to bring attention to what is happening in our lives now, and what all have we absorbed from there, and how do we release that absorption which is there in us. So that was a basic definition of how mother wounds are passed on. And there could be, I can give some examples, like there are mothers who are unsupportive, who are emotionally unavailable to their child. There are mothers who are very extremely critical of their children, of their looks, of their physical appearance. We hear this very commonly, that, oh, you look like this, oh, you look like that. Maybe the way she deals in her relationships, she is very submissive, or she's very dominant. Okay, or maybe there's a possibility there's a victim mindset. She's in a victim mindset, constantly blaming herself for everything, overgiving, taking too much responsibility, and she thinks that everything in the house is her responsibility and she cannot make any mistakes. She could be a people pleaser, or maybe operating from fear, a lot of fear of being abandoned or rejected, or the fear of being alone. And all of these things project a lot of things on us as children. So even if we think that this is normal, this is how it is, and this is how things are, fine, but these things are impacting us at a subconscious level all the time when we are growing up. Now, um, there could be some times when your mother looked at you, or maybe your sister or brother, and she was like, we were talking about in the group, parents have dreams and they want their children to fulfill their dreams which they could not. So there could be times when your parents are trying to fulfill their needs through you. Okay, and as a child, when a child hears that, I need to do this to be approved, to be loved, to be validated, to be accepted. Because as children, our survival depends upon our parents or our guardians. And the moment we feel that is not being met, we try to figure out ways to, get those needs met. And because our parents are telling us that if you meet my need, then maybe I will approve you, then maybe you're a good girl, or maybe you're a good boy, then we fall into a pattern of meeting their needs and disregarding ours, right? So maybe your parents might have tried live their life through you, or maybe in many families it happens that the mother just cannot allow children to go out or do things on their own. So and the reason is not because she's just afraid of the child's safety and all, but another reason, another subconscious reason could be that she doesn't want to be alone. She has treated her child as her best friend, and she just cannot leave the child. So all she has in her life is her child, and her child is everything to her, and there's nothing else in her life. So we see this as a scenario which is so common, but we don't understand this, that energetically children are absorbing this thing, that these are the two people meeting each other's needs. So if so what a child is seeing, that my mother is not empowered in herself enough, and she doesn't have a life of her own, or she doesn't know how to self soothe herself, or how to regulate her emotions, or how to be in a good mindset or in a good energy. So we are there to help each other in that way, and this becomes a pattern. So when these people go out and get into adult relationships, they develop very codependent relationships, because if they do not have a codependent partner who can make them feel that I need you, I need you, I need you, then the person will not feel home at all, right? So this thing, the thing which the mother told a child, that I need you. So for them to feel like home, they need somebody who can tell them, I need you all the time. And that is what unconsciously we think that we want in a relationship. And then we think that this is the perfect relationship for me. So all of these patterns, this was just one example. In hundreds of ways, myriads of ways, all these things unconsciously or subconsciously impact us, and we take it forward subconsciously to our adult relationships. So these are the few pointers that I could remember. Now, I'll just
I
share a
wanted
few.
to
Please,
I just
Aparna.
want to add one thing to this one, that um, when we are talking and when we are going to be discussing, I want the discussion to be from an empathy point of view. So, as you know, as most people know in the group, that our method is of emotional intelligence and mindfulness. That is what we apply in addressing these challenges. So, one of the component of emotional intelligence is empathy. Now, in order for us to become better parents, so because some people might still be trying to interpret this as them being parents. So I would say stop here for a minute. Don't think of yourself as parents. First think of yourself as kids of parents of yours. So put yourself in that situation and experience and remember those feelings and as is what how you went through what it meant and all that. So create that empathy first, get in that mode first before you can start to solve the issues of your own parenting style. You won't be able to actually address any kind of problem in a healthier way until you understand what you have gone through. So whatever you received, you will just pass, and then you will just judge that I'm doing that. So here, this conversation is a reminder, is a pause that for some time you're not parents, you have kids and all that. Forget about all that. This is not about that. This is about you and your wounds that you've inherited, and see them first. Acknowledge them first. See what you have inherited, and see what you want to keep and what you don't want to keep. Then you see that how you can translate this as parents to your kids. So don't try to solve both the problems at the same time and just try to externalize it by only focusing on your kids. So don't externalize it. Internalize this thing by focusing that you are also kids of someone, and see this conversation, see this whole topic from that point of view. Okay, over to you.
Thanks, Akarma. Uh, Perfect. Yes. So now going forward, I will just, I had a few pointers in mind which I could share about how these things actually show up in our relationships. So I'll just give certain pointers. So these are not limited. There can be more and many more. So the first one is inability to set boundaries. So if we have seen that a mother doesn't have set healthy boundaries, we inherit that, and then we continue our relationships in a way that we also don't learn how to set healthy boundaries, because all we have heard throughout our childhood is yes, 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 right? So we do not learn how to say no. because we don't want to be rejected by people, right? The second thing which happens is that it makes you attracted to people um, um, who are, specifically in these states, who are not who. So it makes you feel like you are the fixer, you are the rescuer or enabler. It can make you feel that way. So it makes you responsible for, fixing somebody else, because you have been playing that role as a child to balance things out at home, to not ask for what you need, to always adjust or to compromise. Then it could also turn out as insecurity for your body, for your physical appearance. Um, and it can also turn into codependent relationships. It can very anxious, and it can also make you very emotionally manipulative to meet your needs. It can fill you with fear of abandonment, fear of rejection, and there can be chronic self-judgment, chronic criticism, comparison. So a lot of us observe that we're always judging ourselves, always criticizing ourselves, over criticizing ourselves, comparing ourselves to others all the time. So when we were born as children, we didn't used to do this. We were just normal and we used to see everybody else as they are. But these are our learned behaviors, and these are what we inherit from our childhood. Now, the fear of displeasing your mother or looking forward to her for every decision that you make. So a lot of people have this thing that for every time, every decision they want to take, they seek validation. So they lose their confidence of, if I am enough of making decisions for myself. So they're always looking for their mother's approval, and they would always, for everything, they would call and consult their mother, that if I'm doing it is wrong. And the mother has extensive, like literally extensive say in everything. It extensive influence on every decision that you take, right? And even if you were very clear the moment you talk to your mother, and it just comes out that now you don't know, maybe you are questioning yourself, you are not in the right direction. So extensive influence could be one thing. Lack of self trust. Now, children, we as children, we do not actually just learn through what our parents are saying. So a lot of people come and they say that we have had exceptional childhood, right? Our parents were so positive, our parents were so happy all the time, and I have had like good childhood, and they provided me for everything. Now, the thing is that it's not about what they did to you. As I was trying to explain before, children are more like an observer in the observers, little observers roaming around in the world. So when you were a child, if your mother told you that you're fine, you're doing okay, but she goes to the mirror and she's telling herself that, oh, I look so bad, and I'm not good enough, that auntie is good, and that other person is good, and everybody else is good, I'm bad, or maybe I did not do this enough. So what she says to you matters less than what you actually see her doing. So that's what happens when people say that they have had good childhood. There's a lot that we leave in the picture, is what we were actually experiencing during that phase of our lives. So these are the few pointers and how they come up in our lives. So another thing that Akarma was saying before, that we will proceed in this conversation with a lot of empathy. Why? Because our parents intentionally want good things for us. But the thing is that just like us, there are many things we are not self aware of. We do very unconsciously, right? And we have not seen through it. So they are just bringing on the plate for you what they have brought from their parents. And probably they did not get a chance to work on themselves, to deal with these things, and they did not get a chance to look after these things. to understand. So it's not about, blaming them that, you were like that and that is why this happened to me. They were not even aware. They were not doing it intentionally to us. It's just what they learned and they imparted it to us. So now it is an opportunity for us to see how we are going to take it forward, right? Because now we are adults. Now we have a choice. We have the capacity, be it setting healthy boundaries, be it coming out of codependency, be it coming out of abuse, anything, right? So we will proceed in this conversation from that angle. Now we will begin with the question. So if anybody has any question or they want to share their experience, we will go ahead. And all of these pointers that I mentioned, I have personally gone through most of them, if not all of them, most of them. So I have inherited a lot of mother wounds personally. So yes, any of you who wants to go ahead and share anything? Yeah, please, CP.
Yeah, Anamika, hi. I was listening to you, and whatever you said right now, there was a sentence which you quoted as it's not what our mother says to us. Rather than that, it's more like what we see her doing. So I like resonate with this so much because I remember during my early years, my mother was not very talkative, as in she was not verbal in so many sorry in so many things. So I was thinking that if she was not that talkative to me, how can I develop so much of these, codependency traits? What you just mentioned, like fear of abandonment and people pleasing and everything. So I guess that I was watching her throughout my, childhood and adolescent, and I what I saw was that she was not able to take a stand for herself because my father, he was kind of a very physically violent person, and his physical violence was mostly directed towards me. So I guess I always wanted my mother to be a savior for me, but due to her own reasons, she couldn't do that. And uh, I think the way I observed her, like always on a back foot and not taking a stand for me, I think that also made me develop all these, traits like always to like please others or always take their opinion before proceeding. So this one statement like really resonated with me. That more than what we talk to our parents, what we see them or what we see our mothers doing or acting, that has a profound influence on us. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Even I can like totally resonate to what you're sharing, because I've personally experienced like times when my mom wouldn't take stand for herself. She really needs something, but then she just wouldn't go and say it, and that was because probably she was fearing that maybe my dad would get angry or he would not talk to her, or whatever fears were instilled in her. And yes, that's what I learned, that maybe I should also think so much and I should not ask for, whatever I need. So I started overthinking about it and I would just not say it clearly. And then it, develops a lot of emotional manipulation, because if there is a need, then that need has to be met. But then we cannot ask directly, right? Because we are so fearful. So we will figure out different ways to get those things done.
So is this how like people pleasing trait. Is this how this develops? Because I have this huge people pleasing thing in me, which I just started to learn about. And another thing is this fear of abandonment, which we just talked about. So these two things are the most, profound in me when I started working upon myself. I have come to realize that these are the two traits which are very very profound in me, and it hampers my whatever whatever decision I'm trying to take. It hampers a lot.
I would
Yeah.
also, I'll also say one thing in this that as you are identifying that this people pleasing skill is there, it's very hard for you to say no. So now, let's say, for example, you, when you become a mother and you have your own kids, so in early days, all kids are same, right? They don't know anything. They will just behave in a natural state. So, so as they are growing up and as they start to say more no and all those things, your natural tendency towards that response will be that my kids are becoming so rude, so they are so impolite, and you will start to correct them. And this is exactly what we mean by mother wounds. Does this make sense?
Yes, it does make sense, I think, but with my son, I mean, he's 4 years old now, and I don't feel this extensive need to correct him all the time. Okay, maybe 4 out of 10, I do go on correcting him, but उतना नीड मुझे नहीं लगता कि मुझे हर बात पे उसको करेक्ट करना है, because maybe because I've started working uh, along the along the lines, and I know what I shouldn't do. By people pleasing,
So
what
you
I
have become
meant
more
is
aware of this.
I have no. Yes, right.
Yes,
Yes, because I'm more aware of this trait, so maybe because of that uh, I don't consciously do it with myself.
correct, correct, correct. Because once we become aware of this thing, even if we have not worked on it for ourselves, I think that is the good part about awareness. That once you become aware, you at least stop doing it. Even if it's not fixed, even if your problem is not fixed yet, but at least you will not propagate it anymore. So that's the good
Yes,
thing
yes,
about
I
awareness.
feel.
Many people who are not even aware of this, they will just get it from one side and then pass it on to the other side. So there is no filter in between. There is no filter of self-awareness here. So if a mother is not aware of these tendencies, if this is what they have inherited, then they may inherit it as a culture, as a tradition part, as a thing that this is how it is, this is how women or girls should behave, this is how boys or men should behave. So they will not even filter it. They will just make it as a standard. They will just make it as a culture thing. See, this is how it is. How rudely you are talking to the neighbors or to the relatives or this or that. If the child is not interested in saying that, let's say for example, many people may have experienced this. I have experienced this in my childhood as well. Or is when some relatives would come and our parents would ask us to do something. Our parents would feel very proud that my child is very good at this, as a singing or whatever. Then they'll ask them to do. And if the child is not interested in doing it in front of them, then parents would feel very embarrassed by that, and they'll probably say that that it's very rude, you are बहुत बदतमीज हो and all that. But now the next generation of parents are maybe a little bit more sensitive about these things. They may ask the kid, and if the kid is not doing it, they may not actually put it that way. So this awareness is required, because this passing has to stop somewhere. So somebody has to open their eyes and say, I am not going to pass this to my kids. So I received this, but I'm not going to pass this. So that awareness needs to start somewhere.
Yes, yes,
Yes, maybe go ahead.
I do agree. Yeah.
Yes, maybe you want to say, you have to unmute and talk. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, yeah. Hi, Sachin. Actually, all the pointers which Anamika and you have said about this topic of mother wounds, I can perfectly, resonate with all the things. My only question, or you can say area of concern related to your bad childhood or your present parenthood is that few things have been, inherited into us that about, like you said, about people pleasing, or you can say society pressure, or you can say, for example, I'll tell you, my mom is a teacher, was a teacher, right now she's retired. So when we were at school, when there was an option of choosing the career after 10th, okay, so it was all about how the society is going after, how the society and how her fellow friends, kids were doing that time. So
Uh,
they imposed us few things that, you will not be doing this thing, you will be doing this thing because every friend of mine, their kids are doing the same thing, right? So
Correct.
you can't do that. So now, when it comes to your kids, because you have an habit, myself, I have inherited one habit that, whatever your parents will be saying, you have to do that, right? Because since the
Yes.
beginning, it is the same pattern that they will be saying and you will be doing. So now, when it comes to your kids, when you see your kids coming into the same shoe at the same level, now when they have to choose a career, right? So, and still, if you are with those parents, like, being a single mother, definitely I am with the same set of parents which I was like 20 years back. So what
Mm.
happened is, like, now, even if you want to go as per the way of your child, you cannot go, right? Because
Yes.
as per your parents, there is certain specific rule of education. There are certain specific set of education culture which is there in the society. Otherwise, nobody can survive. So
Yeah.
if you initially try to change this thing, like I tried to change this thing, initially I was on also following the same pattern which has been done with me. But after some time, I realized that no, 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 what has happened with me, I won't be doing with my child, right? Whatever he wants to do, he should do that. But उस समय क्या problem आती है? Your parents comes up in front of you and say that, you won't be doing this thing. तुम ऐसा कर ही नहीं
हाँ,
सकते
हाँ,
हो. And and if आप थोड़ा सा against जाते हो और आप ऐसे कुछ decisions लेते हो, then it is, a fight in front of your child. He is, he can
हाँ.
see this thing, going in the same house, that because they are also, his grandparents. So वहां पे एक
Right.
बहुत ही rigid situation बन जाता है कि फिर बच्चा अगर कुछ करना चाहता है और आप बच्चे को inherit कर रहे हो कि नहीं, आपका जो मन करता है आप वो करोगे, whatever you want to do,
Right.
please do that. Then your parents will come
Right.
up to you, say कि तुमने इसको तमीज नहीं सिखाई है, तुम इसको
हाँ,
नहीं बता रही हो कि क्या सही है लाइफ में करने के लिए,
हाँ,
यू आर नॉट
हाँ,
गाइडिंग हिम
हाँ.
प्रॉपरली. सो
वो
ये
बिगड़
एक,
गया है, आपके
हाँ,
कंट्रोल से बाहर हो गया
ये
है.
तुम्हारे
हाँ,
कंट्रोल से बाहर जा रहा है, ये किसी की नहीं सुनता है, इसको हम जो बोलते हैं ये उसका आंसर देता है. बिकॉज दैट
हाँ.
चाइल्ड ब्रेन इज फंक्शन एज पर द प्रेजेंट स्टेटस ऑफ सोसाइटी, नॉट एज लाइक 20 years बैक.
करेक्ट.
बट इधर वहां पे
करेक्ट.
आप स्टक हो जाते हो कि ये जो एक, इट इज अ सिमिलर काइंड ऑफ मदर वुंड ओनली बिकॉज आप कुछ नहीं कर पाए बिकॉज ऑफ योर पेरेंट्स, यू वांटेड टू डू समथिंग एल्स एंड यू वर
हाँ.
फोर्स्ड टू डू समथिंग एल्स. तो वो
यस.
सेम चीज आपके
यस.
बच्चे में जाने वाली है.
तो
तो हाउ टू हैंडल दिस काइंड ऑफ
हाँ,
सिचुएशन?
मैं हाँ, good. But very good question. Very good situation that you have described, because this is quite common, and I'm sure many people on the call would relate. Many people who listen to this later on the recording will also relate. So this is very good practical scenario. Now here, as you were describing, I would say यहाँ पे दो situations है. एक तो आपको दिख रही है और एक जो शायद आपको दिख भी नहीं रही है यहाँ पे जो हो रही है. वो ये
True.
हो रही है कि one situation which you may not be even able to see. Well, I'll just say, I'm just assuming, maybe you are able to see it. तो मैं just say, ठीक है, जो situation नहीं दिख रही है वो ये है कि your kid is observing two adults arguing about something.
True.
Now, what he is learning is how to argue and how to, so यहाँ पे conflict वो देख रहा है, conflict किस point पे है वो अभी भूल जाओ, अभी उसके
True.
education और वो point को side में रख दो, ठीक है। जो
True.
वो सीख क्या रहा है कि यहाँ पे दो लोगों के बीच में कॉन्फ्लिक्ट हो रहा है, एक ऐसे बोल रहा है, एक ऐसे बोल रहा है, और अल्टीमेटली दोनों में से कोई भी किसी की बात सुन नहीं रहा है, और जो भी ज्यादा चिल्ला के या ज्यादा जोर से या ज्यादा ऐसे करके बोलेगा उसकी बात सुनाई
Hmm.
दी जा रही है, उसका पॉइंट रखा जा रहा है। दिस इज
True.
व्हाट
Right. Right.
होल थिंग। फॉरगेट अबाउट द टॉपिक इटसेल्फ, टॉपिक मैटर ही नहीं करता है।
Right.
उसको तो ये समझ में आ
Right.
रहा है कि अपनी बात समझाने के लिए या तो मुझको फोर्स से बात करनी पड़ेगी, या तो मुझको बहुत चिल्ला के या फोर्स से अथॉरिटी से बात करनी पड़ेगी, या फिर मैं बहुत
True.
फैक्ट्स फिगर्स ला के बहुत कुछ ये बता के वो बता के कि आपको तो
Yes.
समझ नहीं आ रहा है, 20 साल पुराना हो गया है, वो हो गया है। जब वो बड़ा होगा तो वो भी ऐसी
True.
बात करेगा कि
बिल्कुल.
तो हियर वी आर बेसिकली एजुकेटिंग देम कि आर्ग्यूमेंट में जीतना कैसे है,
Yes. Right.
ये उसको सीखेंगे। तो ये शायद ओवरलुक हो रहा है इस पूरे कंडीशन में कि what the child is actually deriving out of this whole thing. Although both of you have got good intention for him, both of you want good for him only,
Right.
but वो उसको नहीं समझ में आएगा अभी, उसको दिख कुछ और रहा है यहाँ पे, उसको
See,
आपके
what
दोनों के
happens
अंदर की
is like,
इंटेंशन नहीं दिख
see,
रही है।
so I just want to add up one thing. It is more or less like, choosing subjects after 10th, okay? Like, I was very much good in literature. I was because my mom is also English teacher. I wanted to learn, I wanted to study literature only, but my mom forced me to take science, to take non-medical, because every friend of her, their kids were doing non-medical engineering. So the same thing they want from my child. My child was keen on doing mass communication, but they wanted him to become an engineer. अभी यहाँ पे क्या है कि अब मैं उसको silently, I am like, pushing him कि ठीक है, let's, do this only. We'll figure it out how to take this ahead later on. But कहीं ना कहीं the child is stuck. Like I was stuck 20 years back.
हाँ, करेक्ट। तो अभी के लिए कैसे है कि यहाँ पे जो सिचुएशन है वो ये है कि यू हैव बिकम अ सैंडविच इन बिटवीन दिस ट्रांजिशन।
Yes,
आपके लिए
right.
अच्छा होता है कि आप अगर अपनी मदर की तरह ही बन जाती तो आपकी लाइफ थोड़ी सॉर्टेड हो जाती। जैसे उन्होंने आपको डांट डांट के एक लाइन पे डाल दिया, आप भी अपने बेटे को डांट के एक लाइन पे डाल देते तो आपके लिए भी लाइफ सॉर्टेड हो जाती। तो
नहीं हुआ
नाउ
ना,
यू हैव
नहीं
डिसाइडेड
हुआ
कि
sorted. I did the same thing which my mom wanted, but it was never sorted,
वो हाँ, क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं तो यू आर डिफरेंट, यू आर नॉट एबल टू डू एग्जैक्टली व्हाट शी, सो आई एम
Right.
सेइंग कि या तो आप बिल्कुल क्लोन बन जाते उनके और वैसे करते तो वो भी कर पाते आप। तो कहीं ना कहीं पे आप वो कर आपने वो किया तो, बट शायद आपको वो करते करते अच्छा नहीं लग रहा होगा उस तरह से करना,
Right.
तो वो ठीक से वो रोल ठीक से प्ले नहीं हो पाया आपसे, ठीक है। तो
Yes.
दैट्स वन थिंग। नाउ व्हाट व्हाट हैज what has been missed in this, so I'm sure ki your question is ki how to deal with this situation. तो इसमें यहाँ पे मिस क्या हुआ है, एक पॉइंट वो ये मिस ये हुआ है कि you have not set healthy boundaries with your mother,
True.
right? So you have to set healthy boundaries with your mother where she needs to now start recognizing that you are an adult and you have a responsibility of your child and you are capable of handling that.
Right.
So your mother doesn't trust you. Your mom doesn't trust you that you are a good parent.
Yes.
So,
Right.
so, so now because of that, she feels obligated. She feels कि अब ये मेरी जिम्मेदारी है, एक को मैं डांट के ऐसे करके ट्रैक पे ले आई हूँ तो इसको भी ले आऊंगी।
Right.
So she feels obligated because she doesn't feel that she can retire from that duty, and you have to make her realize that you need to retire from that duty. You are my mom,
Right.
and you stay as my mom,
Hmm.
and let me be my kid's mom.
Yeah.
तो यहाँ healthy boundary set नहीं हुई है, जिसकी वजह से your mom is able to interfere and able to do this.
But when it comes to setting the boundaries or something, it's a very common thing. जब आपने being done. So stage, how can you begin, to set those boundaries now? Because since the beginning, as a child, you have never done this. So that's a very
हाँ तो कोई बात नहीं ना, तो कहीं ना कहीं तो शुरू करना ही पड़ेगा ना. तो सी अब फाइन, जब दैट्स व्हाट वी व्हेन वी स्टार्टेड वी सेड कि अभी तो जो हो गया वो हो गया. जो जो सिचुएशन जब हमें पता ही नहीं था कि उनसे कैसे डील करना है, वो तो जो हो गया वो हो गया. हाउएवर योर मॉम रिएक्टेड, हाउएवर यू रिस्पॉन्डेड, वो सब गॉन पास्ट. सो वो हो गया. अब नाउ यू आर हियर, नाउ यू नो कि ये करना है. अभी आप अभी करोगे या और 5 साल के बाद करोगे, तो और 5 साल के बाद और 5 साल लेट हो जाएगा. तो ये तो टाइम इज नेवर राइट फॉर दिस थिंग. इफ यू कैलकुलेटिंग ऑन व्हाट बेसिस यू आर कंसिडरिंग कि टाइम इज नॉट राइट, आई विल से कि if the situation has come and you are reason now is the right time, क्योंकि इससे पहले राइट टाइम था ही नहीं, आप कर ही नहीं पाते. तो आप इसको किस चीज से कंपेयर कर रहे हो? अपनी एज से कंपेयर कर रहे हो, उनकी एज से कंपेयर कर रहे हो, अपने बेटे की एज से कंपेयर कर रहे हो, किस चीज से कंपेयर कर रहे हो टू से कि टाइम अभी इतना टाइम बीत गया, अभी ये है, ये टाइम है, इट इज द राइट टाइम.
हाँ, बिकॉज आई वॉन्ट टू टेक अ स्टैंड, बट कई बार क्या होता है कि आपको लगता है कि ठीक है, जैसे वो बोल रहे हैं अभी टाइम भी हम वैसे ही कर लेते हैं, विल बी एबल टू फाइंड आउट सम अदर सोल्यूशन लेटर ऑन. बट ऐसा नहीं है कि उनका गाइडेंस गलत है या उनका बिल्कुल परफेक्ट है. टू लिव इन टुडेज सोसाइटी, टू अर्न मनी, because we have done that, so we are earning good also, but the thing which is lacking is that is happiness. Okay, so I don't want my child to feel after 20 years down the line कि मुझे ये चीज जबरदस्ती कराई गई. आई एम अर्निंग गुड मनी बट आई एम नॉट हैप्पी.
ठीक है, तो आपका पॉइंट क्या है? आप क्या डिफेंड कर रहे हो इस समय
कि हाउ टू
टेक अ स्टैंड?
हाँ, हाउ टू टेक दिस स्टैंड.
तो वो तो मैं बता रहा हूँ ना. बट आप ये बोल रहे हो कि फिर आप ये भी एक तरफ बोल रहे हो कि उनकी पूरी गाइडेंस गलत भी नहीं है. तो
हाँ, because you
आप
cannot hurt them. You cannot
पर
tell
आप
them that
पर ये आपका व्हाई इज दैट योर कंसर्न?
because I can see
आपको
that is not good for the child, for my child.
नहीं, पर ये जो सिचुएशन हो रही है, इज दिस गुड फॉर योर चाइल्ड?
No, not at all.
तो
This is what I'm saying, कि it is not good for
so
the
the
child.
child, so the child is seeing the mother is hurt, his mother is hurt. That is what he is inheriting.
Yeah.
तो आप सिखा क्या रहे हो उसको कि दूसरे को हर्ट ना करो, उसकी वजह से जो हेल्दी बाउंड्री सेट मत करो, क्योंकि वो दूसरे हर्ट हो जाएंगे. दूसरे हर्ट हो जाएंगे तो इसमें यहाँ पे मैं आपको एक बात क्लियरली बताऊंगा कि अगर आपका इंटेंशन दूसरे को हर्ट करने का है, तो दैट इज समथिंग विच आई विल से चेक बैक. ठीक है, आपका अगर इंटेंशन दूसरे को हर्ट करने का नहीं है और दूसरा हर्ट हो रहा है, व्हाट इज देयर फॉर यू टू डू?
Right. No, I don't want to hurt anybody, and I just want कि हाँ, at least there has to be a certain kind of solution, और उनको कैसे convince किया जाए कि
हाँ, तो आप वही बोल रहे हो ना. मैं आप एक ही चीज को अलग अलग तरीके से बोल रहे हो. मैं बोल रहा हूँ आप सिंपली आप क्या चाह रहे हो कि चित भी मेरी पद भी मेरी.
नहीं, मैं ये चाहती हूँ कि वो खुद से समझे उस चीज को कि
नहीं समझेंगी अभी. एंड ऑफ द स्टोरी, नहीं समझेंगी. अब नेक्स्ट टेल मी. समझना होता तो आपके साथ समझती ना, और अभी तक समझती ना, नहीं समझेंगी.
हाँ. And this is not just in terms of education, every every decision कि you cannot take a decision for anything.
उन्होंने जो अपनी मदर से वुंड्स इनहेरिट किए हैं, उनके ऊपर उन्होंने काम नहीं किया है. वो क्यों समझेंगी? उनके लिए कुछ समझने के लिए है ही नहीं. उनको तो दिख ही नहीं रहा. शी इज नॉट इवन अवेयर ऑफ द वुंड्स शी हैज इनहेरिटेड. तो व्हाई वुड शी चेंज एनीथिंग? उनके लिए तो यहाँ पे कुछ चेंज करने के लिए है ही नहीं. उनको तो आपको चेंज कराना है.
To inherit the same, कि कहीं ना कहीं से ऐसा लगता है कि कहीं ना कहीं तो शुरू करना पड़ेगा चेंज, कि जो एक
कहीं ना कहीं शुरू करना पड़ेगा। कहीं ना कहीं शुरू करना पड़ेगा। आप आज तक कभी आपने जब किसी के साथ हेल्दी बाउंड्री सेट नहीं की हैं, उनका काम हमेशा बना है। आप जब भी हेल्दी बाउंड्री किसी के साथ भी सेट करोगे, वो लोग अपसेट होंगे ही होंगे, क्योंकि अब उनको चेंज करना पड़ेगा अपने आप को आपसे डील करने के लिए। नोबडी लाइक्स टू चेंज। उनकी लाइफ इतनी अच्छी चल रही थी ना, आपको कंट्रोल कर रही थी, उनकी लाइफ इतनी अच्छी चल रही थी, आपको कंट्रोल कर रही थी, आप कंट्रोल हो रहे थे। अभी आपने डिसाइड किया कि मेरे को ऐसे करना है, तो अचानक से ब्रेक लग गई, किसी को नहीं अच्छा लगता। अब आप ये बोल रहे हो कि मैं ये भी करूं और वो उससे खुश भी हो, तो मैं इसी को बोल रहा हूँ, इसको हम बोलते हैं चित भी मेरी पट भी मेरी। ऐसा तो होता नहीं है। दिस इज अगेंस्ट द लॉज ऑफ ह्यूमन बिहेवियर। या तो चिट चूज करो या तो हेड्स चूज करो या टेल्स चूज करो, या तो आप हेल्दी बाउंड्री सेट करो एंड देन यू एक्सेप्ट द कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस कि उसकी वजह से उनको तकलीफ होगी, क्योंकि वो हेल्दी बाउंड्री, हाँ वो दे आर नॉट यूज्ड टू इट। तो ये इसका कॉन्सिक्वेंस है। और या फिर आप बोले कि नहीं, मैं हेल्दी बाउंड्री सेट नहीं करती हूँ, जैसी मेरी मदर बोलती है मैं वैसा करती हूँ, तो वो खुश रहेंगी क्योंकि उनका सब चल रहा है फिर। तो एक्सेप्ट वन और दी अदर। आपको दोनों ही चाहिए, आपको हेड्स और टेल की साइड में चाहिए।
I have one question for Nidhi. So Nidhi, why, see, it is clear to you in your heart what you want to do,
right?
Why is it so important for you to please your mother or your father, your parents? Why is it so important for you that they have to be happy with your decision?
Because it is like, I think that it has been the same since I was a child, and everything, every decision, is being taken by them. Even from my marriage, I got married at like 20 years of age after immediately completing my college, and that was not even asked by me. So that was one of the major decisions of my life. So I don't want to, pass on the same thing on my kids now. I want them to, whatever you want to do, please do. Because अगर कुछ भी आप गलत करोगे भी, तो वो तुम्हारा खुद का डिसीजन रहेगा।
यदि अनामिका क्वेश्चन ये नहीं है, अनामिका का क्वेश्चन ये है कि आपके लिए इतना इम्पोर्टेंट क्या है कि आपकी मदर आपके डिसीजन से अग्री करे।
बिकॉज हमें लगता है कि तेरा आर पेरेंट्स, और सबसे बड़ी बात ये है कि अभी आपको ये भी लगने लगता है कि अभी उनका एज हो गया है, और इस एक सर्टेन एज में आप ऐसा सोचने लगते हो कि वो ऑलरेडी अभी एक ओल्डर एज में है, उनको हर्ट करके या
नहीं। एक मिनट, अगर ये बात सच है तो फिर आपने इस बात को एक्सेप्ट क्यों नहीं किया?
क्योंकि वो इसलिए नहीं कर, हाँ, वो अपने लिए कर लिया था, बट जब व्हेन इट कम्स टू योर चाइल्ड, आप खुद से तो वो चीजें,
तो आपको चाइल्ड अलग अलग तो नहीं है ना इस केस में, खुद के लिए।
मतलब क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं एक थॉट आती है कि ऑल दो सफरिंग विच हैज बीन डन विद यू, आप नहीं चाहोगे कि आपका बच्चा भी वो सेम साइकिल रिपीट करे।
ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे मतलब जो आप आंसर दे रहे हो वो आंसर करेक्ट नहीं है, तो क्या आंसर है फिर इसका? तो गो फर्दर।
आंसर यही है कि आई वांट टू डू दिस एंड आई जस्ट वांटेड टू नो हाउ टू डू।
क्वेश्चन का आंसर तो दे दो। क्वेश्चन ये पूछा है कि आपके लिए इतना इम्पोर्टेंट क्यों है कि आपकी मदर आपके डिसीजन से खुश हो। आपने जो आंसर दिया उस आंसर को अभी छोड़ दो और कुछ नया आंसर, क्योंकि वो आंसर करेक्ट नहीं है।
यही है कि इट इज ऑलवेज बीन, आई हैव ऑलवेज बीन लाइक द सेम। आई हैव बीन, because been told that if everything should be perfect from your side, in my marriage also, but later on I realized that even if you are a perfect wife, even if you are a perfect daughter-in-law, if things are not meant to happen, they will not happen, right? So एक जो आपने मुझे उसमें पीपल प्लीजिंग को ही हम कह सकते हैं कि जब आप सबको प्लीज कर रहे हो तो फिर आपको लगता है कि ये तो पेरेंट्स ही है ना। आई मीन जब आप पूरी दुनिया को ही खुश करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो, तो व्हेन इट कम्स टू योर वर्क,
तो क्यों कर रहे हो? उनको छोड़ो, दुनिया को छोड़ो, अभी पेरेंट्स बस मदर पे ही रहो। क्वेश्चन ये है कि क्यों जरूरी है कि वो आपके डिसीजन से खुश हो?
एक एक्सेप्टेंस के लिए कि हाँ उनको ये ना लगे कि उनका बच्चा
करेक्ट
उनके अगेंस्ट गया।
करेक्ट। ये जो आपने एक्सेप्टेंस वर्ड यूज किया ना, इसको अप्रूवल से रिप्लेस कर दो। इट्स नॉट एक्सेप्टेंस, इट्स द अप्रूवल दैट यू आर सीकिंग।
ओके,
तो
हाँ
दे आर
मतलब दे
सीकिंग हर
शुड से
अप्रूवल।
कि ठीक है, तुम जो कह रही हो ये ठीक है, तो तुम कर लो ये, ऐसा वाला।
करेक्ट
हम्म,
करेक्ट।
हम्म।
So this is the
उसमें
approval that you are seeking.
yes, when we were talking about the last the pointers, then the last point was lack of self trust. ठीक है,
Yeah.
तो what I sense कि you you feel कि वो आप ये नहीं सुनना चाहते in future that your parents come and blame you that you did the wrong thing, or you are not the same good girl which you have been with us throughout our life, so you are a bad girl now.
हाँ,
यू आर नॉट दैट गुड गर्ल, तुम इतनी अच्छी बेटी थी, तुम्हें क्या हो गया, तुम बिगड़ गई हो. द सेम सेंटेंस
right,
विच वी यूज विद आवर चाइल्ड, with our children.
right, right.
So you don't want to hear that from your parents,
Yeah, true.
right? And for that, the thing for you to contemplate is that, see, your parents are old. That's
Yeah,
right. So now your child is young, right? So
yes.
you what do you have at stake now? So आप अपने लिए stand नहीं ले पाए and whatever, fine, but now as a mother, so is it worth now to continue this
Mhm.
pattern, right? Because now it's not just you, it's also your
Yeah,
child who is that picture. ठीक है, so
true.
is it worth to let all these things continue? ठीक है, because what you're imparting to your child in this situation, that वो यही सीख रहा है, to get approval from my mom. अभी मुझे
Hmm.
मेरी मदर से अप्रूवल लेने के लिए इन फ्यूचर आई हैव टू मेक हर हैप्पी. ठीक है, सो आई हैव टू, फॉर मी टू बी अप्रूव.
सॉरी, मैं बहुत क्रिटिकल ये बस बोलना चाह रहा हूँ यहाँ पे, और जो अनामिका बोलना चाह रहे हो कि यहाँ पे आप देखना कि यहाँ पे आपकी खुद की नीड फॉर अप्रूवल एंटेंगल्ड है.
Right.
हाँ, आपकी जो ड्राइव यहाँ पे है ना, जो आपका ड्राइव और मोटिवेशन है, वो नीड फॉर अप्रूवल फ्रॉम हर. सो व्हाट अनामिका इज सेइंग, व्हाट इज एट स्टेक हियर. आप ये जिस नीड से बढ़ रहे हो आगे, आप एक्सक्यूजेस तो दे रहे हो कि वो ओल्ड है, मैं हर्ट नहीं करना चाहती, ये सब बेकार के एक्सक्यूज, ये सब ऊपर ऊपर की बात है. जो अंदर की जो रियल बात है ना, वो ये है कि यू आर टेकिंग हर अप्रूवल, एंड द
Yeah,
क्वेश्चन यू
right.
हैव टू आस्क इज एट व्हाट कॉस्ट.
हाँ, और whatever the cost is, I am not ready to, uh, take this approval at this particular cost, because I have observed this pattern in my child, that the way I used to say okay papa, hanji papa, hanji amma, he is also now the same. I mean, I can look, he is just a mirror image of mine, of my personality,
वो
of
यही
how
सीख
I.
रहा है, वो यही सीख रहा है. ही इज ऑल्सो सीकिंग अप, वो धीरे धीरे यही सीख रहा है. ही इज ऑल्सो, ये इसी को ही मैं को डिपेंडेंसी बोल रहा था, जो मैं बार बार सेंटेंस यूज कर रहा था, वर्ड यूज कर रहा था, को डिपेंडेंसी. ही इज बिकमिंग को डिपेंडेंट ऑन यू. Later on he will become codependent on his wife,
Yeah.
or so he will seek a partner who can give him approval, who seeks his approval and all that. और हम बात करते हैं एम्पावर करने की, हम बात करते हैं एम्पावरमेंट की, बातें हम सब बड़ी बड़ी करते हैं, अंदर के हमारे हिडन एजेंडा कुछ और ही रहते हैं.
Right.
तो यहाँ पे ना आप इस बात पे सोचो कि यू आर ड्रिवन बाय अ नीड फॉर अप्रूवल, एंड व्हाट इज इट कॉस्टिंग यू. That
Mm.
contemplation will lead you in taking the right decision. Because if it's costing your child's upbringing and his rest of his life and all that, what is at stake and what are you doing? फिर उसके बाद आपको अपने आप ये समझ में आएगा कि इसमें जो हर्ट हर्ट की आप जो बातें कर रहे हो, वो कितना मैटर करती है. कि आपकी
True.
बात नहीं मानी किसी ने, आप तो वो हर्ट हो गई, थोड़े दिन के लिए नाराज होकर बैठ गई. उनको खुश रखने के लिए आपने अपने बेटे को ये सीख दी, नीड फॉर अप्रूवल इज द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट.
Yes, correct. Right.
इस पॉइंट पे थोड़ा सोचो. दिस विल गाइड यू। जो आप बोल रहे हो ना, हाउ, जो आप चाह रहे हो कि हाउ टू डील, ये हाउ पे जाने से पहले फर्स्ट यू नीड टू गेट टू द कोर। वो क्यों रहा है, ठीक क्या करना है आगे।
Because obviously, because it is a general fact that whatever you will allow, that will continue. If you are, you know, if you really want to stop something, you have to disallow something to come. I mean, एक flow जब तक आप रोकोगे नहीं, जो चीज चल रही है वो रुकेगी नहीं.
बिल्कुल। हाँ, और रोकोगे तो जिन लोगों के लिए वो काम कर रहा था अब तक, उनको तकलीफ तो होगी ही।
right.
बिल्कुल होगी। तो वही मेरा फिर घूम के वही क्वेश्चन आ जाता है कि उनकी तकलीफ से आपको क्यों तकलीफ हो रही है। आपको तो, आपको, आपके पास एक पलड़े में आपकी मदर है जिनकी तकलीफ आपको दिख रही है, और एक पलड़े में आपका बेटा है जिसकी तकलीफ। आपको तो वे आउट ये करना है कि किसकी तकलीफ ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट यहाँ पे है, मेरे को किस 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 पलड़े पे ज्यादा ध्यान देना है। क्योंकि कुछ करोगे तो भी तकलीफ होगी, कुछ नहीं करोगे तो भी तकलीफ, दोनों ही तरफ तकलीफ है ना।
Yes, right.
हाँ, तो चूज।
Yeah, I got that right.
Yeah,
Trisha, you
thank.
had your hand up as well. You want to?
Yeah, right. No, I got the answer right. Yes, yes, right. Thank you.
Yes, wonderful.
Yeah. Trisha, you had something to say?
Oh, I've kind of forgotten what I wanted to say now. um,
Okay.
I was actually going to say that, when you were discussing something you said when you were introducing mother wounds, it triggered this memory for me. Very recently, I was planning a trip with my girlfriends, and then that trip fell apart because for whatever reason. And then, I was just thinking the way I talked about it with my girlfriends. Like, I was obviously very sad and hurt that the trip fell apart. But I talked to them and I said, like I discussed it with them and I was so vocal about it. And it was normal. And even they said, yes, we're really sorry. This didn't happen, blah, blah, blah. Let us, do something else. We'll figure it out. And then the same thing, the same event, when I described it to this guy that I'm talking to, I had a very different tone. I told him this happened, aisa ho gaya, this trip I was planning, it fell apart. But at the same time, I was also like, बता रही हूँ आपको थोड़ी ना फर्क पड़ता है. You're going to Bangkok with your office people, so आपको थोड़ी फर्क पड़ता है मेरा ट्रिप खराब हो गया and ये and वो. And like right now, it just came to me that one of the reasons probably I don't know how to communicate my hurt or my feelings in a very clear manner with men is because when I was growing up, I did not know how to go to my dad and ask for things. Like in my house, it was always key, and I grew up in an abusive household, like a lot of other people did. So in my house, it was always कि अगर कुछ चाहिए तो या तो पापा का मूड बहुत अच्छा होना चाहिए, like you've done well in your studies, or he's in a good mood, so you can go and you can ask him, or you go to mom, you tell her, and then she will figure out कि पापा का mood कब अच्छा है, how do I tell him, how do I put it across to him in a nice manner, and then convince him to give you that thing. And it could be anything. It could be something as simple as going to a friend's house for a party, or a night over or something. Or it could be something big like computer खरीदना है, ये खरीदना है, पैसे चाहिए, कुछ भी. So I have never known how to like convey how I feel to a guy without feeling embarrassed about it, without feeling anxious about it. Like there's so many feelings out there. And the same thing I can go and tell a friend who's a girl without being embarrassed ki, I'm feeling bad about a trip. I shouldn't feel bad about a trip. It's such a small thing. there is absolutely no anxiety. It's just, okay, this is what I'm feeling. I'll get over it. But at this point of time, this is what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
This is it just occurred to me right now while I was hearing you speak, and I can't, like I said, I've forgotten what it is that you said that brought up this memory for me. But yeah, it just made it so much more clearer.
Yeah. Yeah. Because with friends, we don't feel that we can lose them,
Yeah.
but a relationship can end, right? So we
Mhm.
feel safe in our friendship. We don't feel safe in the relationship. Just the same way we have not felt safe with our parents,
Mm.
because like we were talking with Nidhi. So when we don't feel safe that whatever I see and whatever I say and whatever I express is going to be taken in a healthy way, so we have to तोड़ मड़ोड़ के sentences बोलना, and उसको we try to mask it with different things. We try to reason, give excuses,
Mm.
and then say it, because हमें ये डर होता है कि maybe we'll not be accepted, maybe we'll be rejected. It
Yeah,
is
yeah, I
not
know.
going to be
Even when I
great.
was telling him that, I'm feeling so hurt, and like this is my birthday trip, so I was all the more hurt that, I planned something and it fell through. And
Yeah.
and even when I was telling him, half of me was like, he probably doesn't even understand why it's hurting you so much. You know,
Yeah.
like from his perspective, it's just, yeah, it's a girl's trip. It didn't happen, and maybe it'll happen later. But he doesn't understand why you are hurting. And the more I was trying to explain it to him, the more I was also like, getting anxious about, okay, does he even understand this? Am I saying too much? Should I just shut up right now?
Yes.
And then we ended up having a stupid fight about it. But I think, I mean, now that I've said this, I do want to follow it up with a question and ask you, how do I handle situations like this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Please, Akarma,
so
go ahead.
that was another good scenario that you shared, Trisha. That was good. I'm quite glad we are having a really good quality conversation today. Uh, yes, so this is another thing. It's quite linked again to the same scenario as Nidhi was talking about, but maybe a different version of it, as you are
Mm.
describing that um, the attachment style that you have created with men is different to how you feel connected to your girlfriends that way.
Mm.
So as you were describing that your father, if he's in a good mood, you'll make sure you've done something good before you ask. So it's like seeking permission almost कि
Mm.
you kind of पहले पहले मैं कुछ अच्छा कर लूं फिर I can now I have the brownie points to now actually go
Mm.
and ask for something. So that is what you have learned over time is कि कुछ मांगने से पहले पहले मैं वो एक बैलेंस क्रिएट कर लूं ना अपना पहले बैंक बैलेंस बढ़ा लूं ताकि मैं पूछ सकूं I now have the right to ask for it क्योंकि यही
Yeah.
सिखाया गया है कि that is what you have learned. So that is another unhealthy pattern only because when we talk about becoming a power couple and having a equal relationship, तो उसमें giving और receiving जो है वो flow होनी चाहिए. It doesn't have to be कि मेरे पास balance है या नहीं है. तो आपने वो सिखा कि सब पोस्ट पेड पहले पहले क्रेडिट क्रिएट कर लूँ और फिर उसके बाद मैं ये कर पाऊंगी और अगर वो मेरे पास
Mm.
बैलेंस खत्म हो गया है तो आई डोंट इवन हैव एनी राइट टू आस्क फॉर दिस थिंग. तो फिर अभी जो दूसरा कुछ भी कर रहा है तो आई जस्ट हैव टू एक्सेप्ट इट. आई कांट से एनीथिंग क्योंकि मेरे पास तो बैलेंस ही नहीं, बैलेंस ही खत्म हो गया. So that is that is the unhealthy pattern which you have to recognize and free yourself from this. Ki why you cannot receive, why you cannot ask, um, and and you already know where it is coming from. Now it is time वो उन्होंने क्यों किया, वैसा क्यों थे, वाई या फादर, इसका कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. Once again, he inherited his father wounds. That's how he was and he passed it on and whatever. वो हम उसमें नहीं घुसेंगे क्योंकि कोई फायदा नहीं उसमें घुसने का. ठीक है. Events happened in past. Now we are saying कि how they are impacting us now. उसका क्या करना है? तो उसका ये करना है कि now you become aware and you have to work on improving your own self-worth. कि I deserve this, so मुझे ये चाहिए. And अगर मैं अपने पार्टनर से नहीं मांगूंगी तो और किससे मांगूंगी? And if my partner can't ask me, so the giving and receiving needs to be free flowing. You have to allow the same freedom to your partner, and you have to feel the same freedom with your partner. That balance हो या नहीं हो, this is what I want, and putting your needs and your desire in front of your partner in a healthy way is what you need to now learn and work on.
So, okay, I have another question. Is it then necessary to tell your partner, like, of course, we will work on our wounds on our own. Nobody can do the healing for us. But is it important to tell your partner that, okay, this is stuff that I deal with?
Depends.
And
It depends on how comfortable you are, how open communication you have with your partner. If you feel that you can share anything and everything with your partner and they will understand it and they will not judge you or label you or anything like that, then go ahead. If you feel that your partner is not capable of understanding what you are trying to do and all that, then there is no need, because this is self-work anyway. Once again, when you are sharing it with your partner, you are only sharing. So you're coming from the space of sharing. You're not coming from the space of taking permission from your partner.
Agreed. But
right?
what I was trying to
So
say
if that
was
doesn't matter, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, what I was trying to say was, like, the next time I'm trying to share something, and of course, all this healing work will take time, right? It's not going to happen overnight. So the next time I'm caught in the same loop of like anxiety or feeling embarrassed about sharing something and not being able to receive, instead of us having a fight, I guess if he understood that this is a problem that I deal with, because I don't have a problem giving. If somebody comes to me, whether it's a friend or a partner, they come.
How long do you think it will take you to heal from this? When you say it will take long time, how are you making that assessment?
No, I mean, I do assume it'll take some time. I don't know how long.
But that's my question. Where is it coming from? Where is this assumption coming from? You've tried doing this work before, and it took long
I've been in
time. It took
therapy
a
for
lot
a
of.
year. So,
You've been in therapy.
this awareness came to me today. So yeah, it's taken me 1 year to realize, acha, this is why I do what I do. So maybe it'll take me
Right.
some more time to like stop doing it, or get to a place where I don't do it as often, don't feel as bad about asking and receiving, because giving is not a problem. Like I was trying to say, I'm very open. Somebody asks me for help, somebody asks me for whatever, I like literally lay down the red carpet for them, but receiving is the problem.
Yeah. So I'll say that if you know how to work on your healing process, if there is a guidance in there, if you're working with the right kind of people, you can start to see results within a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, within a month also.
Mm-hmm.
The results will start to show you within a week to 2 weeks. And when I say results, I don't mean that results mean that all your problems will be solved, but within a week, within 2 weeks, you will start to get to a point where things will start to disturb you lesser and lesser. So even if the fights are happening, the fights will not be as dramatic as whatever it is right now. The intensity will start to reduce, and you will start to see that effect. And when the intensity from your side drops, the intensity from the other side will also drop. So it will multiply. So as such, I will say that the right kind of healing process can show you results within 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks as well.
And what would be the
I
right kind of healing process?
Yes, Anamika, go ahead. You were
No,
saying
no,
something.
please continue. I'll talk later.
I didn't hear you. I think both of you talked at the same time. So, Trisha, say again what you said.
Yeah, I was saying what would be the right kind of healing process for something like this?
Yeah. So I have in our last call we talked about this thing that uh, most people these days, the stats show that almost 90% people these days are struggling with relationship problems. Now, what happens is that if you are struggling with something, and let's say you can talk to your girlfriends and all that, it's all good. But if they are not sure how to help you, they can sympathize with you, and they can be there for you and all that. But that's not healing. That's just you can complain and vent in front of them, and that's basically it. Most people are not able to guide you through that process. So we always recommend that take help, take professional help, take these things seriously. Work with someone who can guide you. Most people take this route of reading self-help books or watching YouTube videos of experts and attending webinars and seminars and videos and audios and all that. Don't do that. They don't work, and I tell you why. I'm saying these things because we have been in this field of relationship coaching for 20 plus years. I know this क्योंकि ये one on one काम है. आपको you can get all sorts of the books are general in nature. Any video you see of an expert is general in nature. There is nobody who's hand holding you. You're not even able to ask a question. You're not even able to clarify your doubts about it. Am I doing this correctly? Am I on the right path? Did I interpret what you are saying correctly or not? So nothing wrong with what they are saying. I'm not against that. People are sharing knowledge and information with you. That's good. But don't start creating your own medicines from it. आपको कोई बीमारी होती है तो आप डॉक्टर के पास जाते हो और डॉक्टर आपको कुछ प्रिस्क्रिप्शन देते हो तो आप फार्मेसी पे जाते हो दवाई लेने के लिए. आप खुद नहीं बैठ जाते हो गूगल पे सर्च मारने के लिए दवाई कैसे बनानी है. ठीक है. और ना ही आप गूगल पे बैठ के चेक करते हो कि मेरे को क्या प्रॉब्लम हो गया. व्हाई वी डू दीज थिंग्स फॉर दीज काइंड ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स व्हिच आर अफेक्टिंग आवर डे टू डे लाइफ सो मच. So take professional help. Take help from someone who knows what they are doing. Now they can be your friend. If any of your friends, relatives, someone you know who's in this field, who knows how to help, take their help. If you don't know, go and take help from someone. We do this work as well. You can take help from us. I'm not saying you have to only take help from us. I'm just saying take help from someone. Yes. Don't drive this car yourself. Just sit on the back seat. Let someone drive it. Let someone take you through this process. Let's say, for example, I tell you this: I'm an NLP practitioner. I can help people to get out of addictions, any kind of addictions that we have, food addiction, smoking, and all that. But when we are doing the NLP process with someone, at that time we have to put them in a certain trance. So in that trance, I can work with them. Now I know this. Can I do this on myself? No. When I'm in a trance state, I can't do my own surgery. I need another surgeon to do this. So this is where the problem is, that we are all trying to do our own brain surgery by reading books. So हम बुक पढ़ रहे हैं, गूगल पे देख रहे हैं, उसी टाइम हमने अपना सिर भी खोला हुआ और हम सर्जरी भी करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं अपने ऊपर. And then we are saying it takes long time. Long time क्या? I will say it will take lifetime. It will never finish. कभी होगा ही नहीं. So long time की क्या बात है इसकी? जब right kind of help, right kind of people are available who have this as their profession, just उनके साथ मिलो, उनके साथ काम करो, let them get you through that. So understand their process, understand how they do things, and be very clear कि आपको कहाँ पहुँचना है, कैसे पहुँचना है. I understand and work with them. So we do one-on-one coaching with people around this thing who feel that they need that. But at the same time, we have also created e-learning journeys around this. So we have created this whole scenario जहाँ पे whatever work we are saying, so let's say how to set healthy boundaries that we were talking about. So how to set healthy boundaries के लिए we have created a 21 days journey. So it will be like as if you would come to us and we will do your one-on-one coaching. We will ask you certain questions, ask you to do certain contemplations and take you through a process. वो पूरा process हमने lay down कर दिया 21 days का. Just go through it. It will only take you 15-20 minutes every day. Just follow it. Just आंख बंद करके जो वहाँ लिखा है just करो 21 days के लिए and then see where you get to. Many people have already done that. Many people have already completed these journeys, and with plenty of testimonials from people who swear by that they have got good results and all that. So, hey, utilize it. We only charge $295 a month. We have made this thing highly affordable for this reason only, because we know this is a very prevalent problem. बहुत ज़्यादा है और हम अपनी तरफ से यही कर रहे हैं कि how can we add value to the society by giving what we have, but at the same time it doesn't pinch their pocket. So try it out.
I will. Can I ping you later after the call to learn more about it?
Yeah, sure. We will share more information in the group also about it. And yeah, definitely you can ask us. We will point you to the website where things are. You can read more about all that. So it's a subscription-based system. We've created plenty of e-learning journeys. We created, Anamika creates guided meditations herself in there. She creates subliminal. All these are part of the subscription. All these are part of the journeys. And it's all there. And we keep creating new content. We keep working on it as well. This month also we have planned to release 3-4 new e-learning journeys.
Sure, I'll check it out. I think somebody else has their hand up, so I'm going to stop talking now. But thank you. I'll ping you and I'll get more information.
Thanks.
Sure.
Thanks, 𝗔𝗸. Yeah. 𝗕𝗫, we don't know your name, so can you please let us know your name and ask your question then?
I'm Simran.
Hi.
I'm
I didn't
Simran.
get your name.
I'm Simran.
Simran. Hi, Simran.
Hi.
Yes, go ahead, Simran.
Yes.
जी मुझे ये पूछना था कि जैसे मेरा मदर के साथ बहुत अब्यूजिव चाइल्डहुड रहा है, तो 6 years बैक मैं थोड़ा सेपरेट हो गई उनसे, बाउंड्रीज बना ली मैंने। और अभी मुझे क्या होता है कि मैं 1-2 बार ही उनसे मिलने जाती हूँ, तो वो तभी टारगेट करके वो चीज़ें ट्रिगर हो जाती हैं। और मुझे बहुत बार जरा भी अगर डे टाइम में कुछ ख्याल आता है पास्ट का, तो मुझे रात को बहुत बैडली नाइटमेयर्स आते हैं। बहुत ही मतलब कि हर चीज उसमें एक चीज रिपीट हो रही होती है, और उससे मैं बहुत मतलब कि पेनफुल हो जाता है उसको बियर करना। तो ये पास्ट मेमोरीज जो हैं इनको कैसे मतलब कम किया जाए?
So ये नाइटमेयर्स आपको पास्ट मेमोरीज से रिलेटेड आते हैं? So these things की मतलब बार-बार दिमाग में आता है क्या?
हाँ, जो चीजें जैसे इंसिडेंट्स हुए थे या वो बैडली अब्यूज कर रहे हैं या इस तरह से।
अब्यूज, व्हेन यू से अब्यूज मतलब उसमें फिजिकल भी था पार्ट?
जी फिजिकल भी।
हाँ,
और इमोशनली ज्यादा, जैसे वर्बल अब्यूज ज्यादा
हाँ।
क्योंकि जो फिजिकल अब्यूज था उसके मुझे कोई ज्यादा इंसिडेंट्स याद नहीं है और उनके साथ पेनफुल यादें नहीं है, लेकिन जो वर्बल अब्यूज था कि बहुत ही जिसकी कोई लिमिट नहीं थी, तो उस पर चीजें ज्यादा ट्रिगर करती हैं।
राइट। एंड अभी आपके करेंटली लाइफ में कौन लोग हैं?
अभी मेरा बेटा है 7 years का और मैं हूँ।
ओके, तो आप 2 लोग हैं सिर्फ?
जी।
ओके।
और आप अभी अकेले ही रह रही हैं अपने बेटे के साथ, या अभी मतलब कहीं किसी के कोई रिलेटिव के साथ अकेले ही 2 लोग अकेले ही रह रहे हो?
हम 2 लोग अकेले रहते हैं कई साल से।
कई साल से, ठीक है ठीक है। और अभी उनके साथ कुछ रिलेशन है आपका, कुछ बातचीत होती है या बिल्कुल कट ऑफ है?
बातचीत बस ये कि कभी कभी जाना होता है, या कभी वो कॉल, जैसे कॉल भी वो एक्सपेक्ट करते हैं कि मैं ही करूं, तो
हाँ,
कॉल पर बात होती है कभी कभी।
अच्छा अच्छा, ओके ओके। तो ये नाइटमेयर्स जो आप बोल रहे हो, कि थोड़ा सा ऐसा बताओगे कि नाइटमेयर्स कैसे बहुत फ्रिक्वेंटली आते हैं, और कोई सर्टन टाइप का नाइटमेयर ही हमेशा आता है, अलग अलग कुछ है, और कोई रीजन, कोई ट्रिगर रहता है इसका, कभी ऐसे कुछ होता है जिसकी वजह से आता है, या बस रोज ऐसी अपने आप ही सेम चीज ही आती रहती है?
सेम होते हैं, वो पूरा एक फिल्म की तरह तरीके से होता है। और जैसे कि अगर मुझे पास्ट थॉट आ जाए कि ये चीजें हुई थी मेरे साथ, तो उस नाइट को ज्यादातर आता है।
अच्छा,
और हाँ, कि वो जैसे कर मतलब कि जो अब्यूजिव लैंग्वेज और सब मिलके घर से निकाल रहे हैं,
हाँ हाँ
और
हाँ।
मेरे पास रहने के लिए जगह नहीं है, तो मैं पैनिक हो गई हूँ कि मुझे कहाँ जाना है। मूवी की तरह चलता है।
और इसमें आपने
Right.
कोई हेल्प ली कभी किसी से?
हाँ, मैंने कोशिश किया काफी जगह, लेकिन मतलब वो रूट रूट तक नहीं पहुंच पाती।
क्या कोशिश किया था, किस, मतलब थोड़ा हमें बताओगे तो हमें समझ
हीलिंग
में आएगा कि
क्लासेस
क्या किया, क्या वर्क हुआ, क्या नहीं हुआ।
हीलिंग क्लासेस में उन्होंने बोला कि फॉरगिवनेस करो, तो वो मैं डेली करती हूँ फॉरगिवनेस, तो उस टाइम के लिए ठीक लगता है। बट जब चीजें, जैसे कोई सिचुएशन मेरी लाइफ में आता है
दिल
कि
से फॉरगिवनेस नहीं हुई है बेसिकली?
हाँ हाँ हाँ, डीपली नहीं हुआ है मे बी।
ठीक है
तो
ठीक है।
हाँ, तो वो प्रोसेस क्या है, क्योंकि मैं करती तो डेली हूँ पूरा कोशिश करके,
हम्म।
या फिर
और आपने,
ग्रेटिट्यूड लिखने के लिए बोलते हैं तो वो करती हूँ।
तो ये जिसने भी आपको ये बोला है करने के लिए, उन्होंने क्या डायग्नोज किया है कि आपको क्या प्रॉब्लम है? उन्होंने ये जो आपको करने के लिए बोला है, किस रीजन से बोला है?
नहीं,
उन्होंने क्या बताया कि व्हाट आर
वो
यू गोइंग थ्रू?
उस चीज के डीप में उन्होंने तो स्टोरी नहीं सुनी है। मतलब कई जगह जहाँ बातें की हैं, तो वो बस उस पे आगे काम करते हैं कि बस आप ये करो तो सब कुछ पॉजिटिव होने लगेगा अपने आप,
हुआ नहीं?
21 डेज तक।
पर
हाँ
हुआ नहीं?
वो, हाँ जी।
पर हुआ नहीं?
नहीं नहीं, मैं 3-4 इयर्स से कोशिश कर रही हूँ। कभी चीजें पॉजिटिव हो जाती हैं थोड़े टाइम के लिए, लेकिन कुछ ऐसा ट्रिगर आता है तो फिर से वो एपिसोड पूरा वही, पूरा उसमें
हाँ,
फिर वापस आने में बहुत टाइम लगता है।
मैं जब त्रिशा के साथ बात कर रहा था, तो इनफैक्ट लाइक यू हैव गिवन अ वेरी गुड एग्जांपल, मैं यही बात कर रहा था कि यूजुअली अगर हम किसी के साथ मिलके वन ऑन वन पहले ये समझने की कोशिश नहीं कर रहे कि चल क्या रहा है, तो ये हीलिंग प्रोसेस तो लाइफ लॉन्ग चलता रह सकता है। 3-4 साल तो बहुत कम है, तो 50 साल भी चलेगा ऐसे, क्योंकि रूट ही डायग्नोस नहीं हुआ है कि आप, उन्होंने दवाई देनी भी शुरू कर दी बिना ये जाने कि मर्ज क्या है।
जी जी,
तो
वो बोलते हैं कि नेगेटिव सोचना ही नहीं है, पास्ट का सोचना ही नहीं है, पास्ट खत्म हो गया है। लेकिन वो
हाँ,
पास्ट मतलब लाइव चलता रहता है वो,
नहीं चला है,
वो
नहीं खत्म हुआ आपके लिए। हाँ
जी
हाँ हाँ। तो जो मुझे अभी समझ में आ रहा है, और जिस तरह की आपकी इस समय एनर्जी जो मैं फील कर रहा हूँ, बहुत शेकन है। तो
जी
इनफैक्ट वी बोथ, मी एंड नामिका, वी बोथ, जो हम अपने अपने फील्ड में हम बोलते हैं एम्पैथ, so we can actually very much sense people's energy. So right now आपकी एनर्जी जो मैं बात कर रहे हो, आप इस समय मेरी चेस्ट और मेरे गले में दर्द हो रहा है,
जी
तो आई कैन फील कि ये दो चीजें आपकी पूरी तरह से ब्लॉक्ड हैं।
जी।
तो आई कैन एक्चुअली फील योर एनर्जी इन माय चेस्ट एंड माय थ्रोट। तो थ्रोट ब्लॉक होने का एक जो इंडिकेशन रहता है वो ये है कि you're not able to verbalize exactly what you want to verbalize. तो
हम्म,
आपको मौका नहीं मिला अपनी बात करने का,
जी
आप खाली नहीं हो पाए हो तब, तो वो आपके अंदर भरा पड़ा है इस समय।
हम्म,
तो ये जो चीज है, एक एक लॉस हुआ है आपको, और वो लॉस का जो प्रोसेस है वो आपने कंप्लीट नहीं किया है। लॉस की 5 स्टेजेस होती हैं जो कंप्लीट करने की जरूरत होती है। आप अभी सेकंड स्टेज पे हो, जो सेकंड स्टेज उसकी 5 टोटल 5 में से अभी जहां तक मैं समझ पा रहा हूँ यू आर ऑन द सेकंड स्टेज राइट नाउ, जिसमें आपके अंदर बहुत एंगर भरा हुआ है। तो वो आपकी एनर्जी बहुत शेकन फील हो रही है कि आप ज्यादातर डू यू फील वेरी रेस्टलेस?
हाँ, रेस्टलेस और अग्रेसिव भी रहती हूँ मैं काफी।
हाँ,
एक्चुअली क्या है,
भरा हुआ।
मुझे 15 इयर्स से अराउंड 15 ईयर जहाँ तक मुझे याद है तब से मुझे हेडेक है। कि ब्रेन का जो नर्व
बैक
है वो
में भी
पूरा
दर्द होता है,
टाइट।
लोअर बैक में दर्द होता है।
हाँ जी, और जैसे कि रात को ये जो टीथ होते हैं वो भिज जाते हैं बिल्कुल।
हाँ,
वो भिजे ही रहते हैं मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम।
हाँ, ये सारी की सारी जो इंडिकेशंस हैं दिस इज कि आप वो एंगर को अपनी बॉडी में होल्ड करके बैठे हो क्योंकि आपको मौका नहीं मिला उसको एक्सप्रेस करने का।
जी।
ये बाहर निकालने की जरूरत है। पहले आप ना ये जो भी कर रहे हो ये मैनेज करने की कोशिश कर रहे हो, इस चीज को अंदर ही रख के। तो ये जो जहर भरा पड़ा है पहले इसको बाहर निकालना है। ये बाहर नहीं निकला है, बाहर निकाले बिना अंदर रखे रखे ही इस जहर को अमृत बनाने की कोशिश कर रहे हो। वो तो मैं क्या बोलूँगा,
पॉसिबल
वो तो पॉसिबल नहीं है। हाँ, वो पॉसिबल नहीं है, वो हीलिंग प्रोसेस ही नहीं है, वो करेक्ट हीलिंग प्रोसेस ही नहीं है।
जी, मुझे भी लगता है कि पहले कुछ खाली होना है, पहले कुछ खाली होगा तब मैं कुछ पॉजिटिव अंदर डाल सकूंगी, क्योंकि मैं वो सैचुरेटेड फील करती हूँ। जब वो लोग ये बताते हैं मुझे इरिटेशन होने लगता है।
बिल्कुल आई कैन टोटली अंडरस्टैंड।
नहीं कर रहा है,
नहीं करेगा भी नहीं, क्योंकि इंट्यूटिवली तो यू ऑलरेडी नो व्हाट यू नीड, बट आपको गाइडेंस ठीक नहीं मिल पा रही है।
जी।
या खाली होने की बहुत जरूरत है यहाँ पे आपको। पहले बहुत ज्यादा एंगर भरा हुआ है आपके अंदर।
Yeah, and one thing I will add for all the people who are here who have suffered abuse in their lives, तो जब भी कोई abuse होता है then it's a very different scenario compared to जो हम ये सब चीज़ों के बारे में बात करते हैं। So abuse is a very different thing because abuse is क्या बोलना चाहिए, उसकी इंटेंसिटी बहुत डिफरेंट होती है and it is done with a very different intention। तो एक चीज और मैं ऐड करूंगी यहाँ पे सिमरन आपके लिए, कि मदर क्या होती है कि जब हम पैदा होते हैं, ठीक है, और जब हम इस दुनिया में आते हैं तो हम किसकी वूम से आते हैं? मदर की वूम से आते हैं, ठीक है। और जब हम छोटे होते हैं तो मदर हमको फीड करती हैं, ठीक है। तो हमारा कांस्टेंट सोर्स ऑफ सर्वाइवल, सेफ्टी, ये दो चीजें, दो वर्ड्स हैं, ये डिपेंडेंट होता है मदर के ऊपर, ठीक है। हम सभी डिपेंडेंट होते हैं, ईच वन ऑफ अस। तो जब भी ये चीज नहीं मिलती है, एंड नाउ दैट यू आर सेइंग कि मदर से जो प्यार था वो नहीं मिला एंड देन यू वर अब्यूज्ड, तो आपने काफी अब्यूज देखा है वहां से। तो क्या होता है कि हम अपने आप में सेफ और सिक्योर नहीं फील करते हैं, ठीक है। हमारा क्योंकि जो रूट है ना, अब पेड़ है, पेड़ पैदा हुआ, सीड आई, ठीक है, उसके जो रूट्स हैं वही शेकन है, वो रूट से सेफ नहीं फील कर रहे हैं, तो वो बड़े कैसे होंगे ढंग से, ठीक है। सो हमारे रूट्स ही शेकन हो जाते हैं, हम इतना इनसिक्योर फील करते हैं, इतना अनसेफ फील करते हैं हर जगह कि बाकी सारी चीजों पे उस चीज का इम्पैक्ट आता है, राइट। एंड यू वेरी करेक्टली सेड कि पहले खाली होना जरूरी है, राइट। सो दिस इज अ होल प्रोसेस। फॉरगिवनेस अच्छी चीज है, वेरी गुड, वेरी राइट, बट ये आगे का स्टेप है। इसके पहले बहुत सारे स्टेप्स हैं which we have to go through। जैसे कि I have gone through sexual abuse in my life। बहुत गुस्सा आता था यार, ठीक है, ऐसा लगता था ना, there were times when I used to feel कि क्या करूं मैं, ठीक है। सो मेरे दिमाग में when I was a child ये सब स्टोरीज चलती रहती थी कि how do I kill them, ठीक है, and how do I do bad things to those people। तो अब्यूज तो एक काफी टाइम तक वो चला, आई हैड टू बी इन दैट स्पेस, ठीक है, और मुझे बहुत गुस्सा आता रहा एंड आई हैड, इसका मतलब ये तो नहीं ना मैं ये बोलूं कि वो एंगर गलत है, ठीक है,
जी
ये
जी
जो भी इमोशंस आ रहे हैं ये उस अब्यूज के थ्रू आ रहे हैं, वी हैव टू प्रोसेस ऑल ऑफ दीज इमोशंस। तो अगर मुझे उस समय गुस्सा आता और मैं अपने आप को बोल देती नहीं नहीं गुस्सा मत करो, यू फॉरगिव देम,
या
ठीक है, यू फॉरगिव दोस पीपल, इम्पॉसिबल, मतलब मेरे लिए तो पर्सनली इम्पॉसिबल था टू फॉरगिव समबडी जस्ट लाइक दैट, ठीक है,
जी
बिकॉज उसके इम्प्रिंट्स ऐसे थे कि कभी भी वो ट्रिगर हुआ एंड आई वुड बी शेकन फॉर आवर्स, ठीक है। तो इस you have to go through this process, and this process is different compared to what normally we talk about, and abhi we will be creating a journey called healing grief, right? तो जैसे कि आप you have gone through abuse of your mother, ठीक है, and that is a big loss,
या
ठीक है,
एक्चुअली
and
हाँ, जैसे वो बीट करती थी तो वो अलाउ नहीं करते थे कि हम सैड फेस बनाए आफ्टर बीटिंग, और मतलब हैप्पी रहना है आफ्टर बीटिंग, और जैसे कि अगर क्राई करने का कोशिश करते थे तो वो माउथ बंद कर देते थे हाथ से। तो अभी मैं किसी से भी डिस्कस करती हूँ इन चीजों के बारे में तो वो बोलते हैं पेरेंट्स ऐसे हो नहीं सकते हैं, या तुमने कुछ कमी होगी कि पेरेंट्स ने ऐसे किया, और कि
मैं एक सिंपल सी चीज मैं ये मैसेज दूंगा अभी, क्योंकि ये रिकॉर्ड भी हो रही है और लोग भी इसको सुनेंगे कि नो नो किड no kid can do anything that a parent would actually treat them like that, as simple as that.
या तो मुझे समझ नहीं आता कि 4 साल का बच्चा 5 साल का बच्चा क्या
नहीं हो
ऐसी
सकता,
गलती करता है।
नहीं, ऐसा पॉसिबल नहीं है। दिस इज अगेन, उन्होंने अपने कुछ वुंड्स इनहेरिट किए अपने पेरेंट्स से, दे वेंट थ्रू व्हाटएवर व्हिच दे डिडंट एड्रेस, एंड आप उसके रिसीविंग एंड पे पड़ गए।
जी जी जी, वो चीज मुझे बाद में समझ आई कि उनके साथ ये चीजें हुई, या उनका कुछ ऐसा नेचर है, बट वो फिर हील नहीं हो रहा है, लेकिन ये चीज समझने के बाद भी।
हाँ, ठीक है, ठीक है। अम, एक चीज तो जो हम बोल रहे हैं कि खाली होने की जरूरत है, तो एक खाली करने के लिए ना, मेडिटेशन तो आपसे होगी नहीं, मेडिटेशन तो पॉसिबल नहीं है आपके लिए। तो मतलब मैं ये नहीं बोल रहा हूँ कि आपसे नहीं होगी
ब्रीदिंग
कि
वगैरह
आप,
करती हूँ मैं।
हाँ, मेडिटेशन इन द
प्रोसेस।
सेंस मैं आपके ऐसे पर्सनल उस पर नहीं कमेंट कर रहा हूँ, मैं स्टेट, आपकी जो स्टेट है उसके बेसिस पे कमेंट कर रहा हूँ कि अभी नहीं होगी, ठीक है। तो डोंट टेक इट पर्सनली और एनीथिंग लाइक दैट।
नहीं नहीं, हाँ मैं जानती हूँ, मैं खुद, मुझे पता है कि माइंड अभी कुछ ले ही नहीं रहा है।
हाँ हाँ, तो अभी नहीं हो पाएगी मेडिटेशन। तो हाँ, मेडिटेशन का एक ऑल्टरनेटिव है हमारे पास, विच इज सब्लिमिनल, जो अनामिका ने रिकॉर्ड किए हैं। तो उसमें हमारे पास एक सब्लिमिनल है, रिलीजिंग फियर गिल्ट एंड ऑब्लिगेशन, यही है ना अनामिका, रिलीजिंग फॉग। सो रिलीजिंग फियर गिल्ट एंड ऑब्लिगेशन इज वन सब्लिमिनल। तो सब्लिमिनल जो है वो एक एनएलपी टेक्निक है जिसके बेसिस पे हमने ये क्रिएट किया है। वो आप ट्राई करो, क्योंकि वो मेडिटेशन की जैसा नहीं है। उसको बेसिकली जब आप वो सुनोगे तो आपको उसमें कुछ सुनाई नहीं देगा, उसमें सिर्फ म्यूजिक सुनाई देगा, पर उसमें बैकग्राउंड में कुछ एफर्मेशंस कुछ चल रहा होता है जो आपको सुनाई नहीं देंगे, और दैट्स ओके, वो आपके सबकॉन्शियस के साथ बात करने के लिए है डायरेक्टली। तो उसको लगा के आप सारा दिन जैसे कुछ काम कर रहे हो, कुछ भी कर रहे हो, हेडफोन्स लगा के आप सुनो। रात को एक्चुअली में वो बेस्ट वर्क करता है कि आप हेडफोन्स लगाओ और सो जाओ वो लगा के। तो वो बैकग्राउंड में वो नॉइस जो है वो चलती रहती है, वो इट कुड बी रेन साउंड या इट कुड बी सम काइंड ऑफ साउंड जो आपको ऐसे सुनाई देगी, बट बैकग्राउंड में उसमें कुछ चल रहा है। तो वो एक टेक्निक है जो इस समय आपके काम आ सकती है, मेडिटेशन इसमें। तो यू फर्स्ट हैव टू कम टू अ स्टेट जहाँ पे आपको खाली होने का प्रोसेस स्टार्ट करना पड़ेगा। तो उसके लिए पहले आपको थोड़ा ग्राउंड और थोड़ा काम करने के लिए ये बैकग्राउंड में ये चलता रहेगा। तो इसका इफेक्ट आप देखो 1-2 वीक्स में आपके ऊपर इसका क्या इफेक्ट आता है, और फिर खाली होने के लिए क्या करना है, फिर वो उसके ऊपर आगे बात होगी, क्योंकि ये बहुत सालों का, डेकेड्स का ये भरा पड़ा है और ये
अब
बहुत
वो
ज्यादा है।
लेयर्स आ गई हैं कि वो पहले इंसिडेंट्स, वो चीजें रिपीट होती थी माइंड में, अब वो मतलब चीजें रिपीट नहीं होती है, अब जस्ट वो एक बस थॉट्स बन गए हैं, मतलब कंक्लूजन कुछ
अब
आ
तो आप
गई है।
हो नहीं ना उस एनवायरनमेंट में, नहीं हो तो अब वो तो इवेंट्स तो होंगे नहीं, अब तो आपने छोड़ दिया वो घर, अब तो उस एनवायरनमेंट से अलग हो गए हो, लेकिन वो जो चीजें हो गई हैं वो छोड़ तो नहीं पा रहे ना।
जी,
वो तो उन्होंने आपको पकड़ा हुआ है, आपने उनको पकड़ा हुआ है अभी।
हाँ वो अंदर
तो
से नहीं है, मुझे समझ
वो
नहीं
अंदर
आ
से
रहा।
नहीं है। हाँ,
जी
तो वो खाली करने का प्रोसेस करना पड़ेगा, और वो खाली करने के प्रोसेस के बाद पहले बेसिकली नेगेटिव से जीरो पे आना है, जीरो के बाद पॉजिटिव की बात होगी, या तो सीधा ही पॉजिटिव पे चले गए।
या जिनसे भी मैंने कंसल्ट किया या जो भी कोर्सेज करा रहे हो, वो तो यही बोला कि आप डायरेक्ट पॉजिटिव सोचो, नेगेटिव एक वर्ड भी नहीं सोचना, फिर आपको बोलना ही नहीं है, फिर आपको सोचना ही नहीं है,
हाँ,
लेकिन फिर वो और फील होता है। और
तो इसके
अभी
बारे में मेरे को और ज्यादा तो बोलने की जरूरत है नहीं, क्योंकि उन्होंने बोला, आपने किया, और आपके पास ये रिजल्ट है कि उसका कुछ हुआ नहीं,
या हाँ
राइट?
जी
सो
जी
एग्जैक्टली, सो मतलब आई आई एग्री विद यू कि ऐसा ही होता है, तो आप मेरा ही पॉइंट प्रूव कर रहे हो कि ऐसा ही है, तो ये ऐसा ही है। नेगेटिव से जीरो पे आके जीरो से पॉजिटिव पे, तो पहले वो सारी चीजें क्लियर करनी है, पहले वो सारी चीजें खाली करनी है, फिर आगे पॉजिटिविटी की बातें हो सकती हैं। कुछ भी तो
जी
कूड़ा कचरा कुछ भी निकाला नहीं है, और घर में बैठे रहते हैं, घर साफ है, घर साफ है, मेरा तो घर साफ है, मेरा तो घर बहुत चमक रहा है, मेरा तो घर बहुत बहुत ब्यूटीफुल है, और सारा चारों तरफ कूड़ा कूड़ा दिख रहा है।
जी
तो वो हमें खुद ही लगता है ना कि इसको बेवकूफ बना रहे हैं।
बिल्कुल।
तो इट डजंट वर्क लाइक दैट। तो ये पहले ठीक है। एक दो सब्लिमिनल्स हैं, आई सजेस्ट टू यू, वो सब्लिमिनल्स करो आप 1-2 वीक्स,
जी
और वो उसका कुछ भी टाइम फ्रेम या कुछ भी नहीं, ऐसा नहीं होता है कि कोई सर्टन टाइम पे, ऐसा वो मेडिटेशन जैसा नहीं है कि दिन में करना है, रात को करना है, ऐसा कुछ नहीं। जब टाइम मिले पूरा दिन बेशक हेडफोन्स लगा के पूरा दिन उसको लूप पे सुनते रहो बेशक।
जी
तो डू दैट फॉर 1 or 2 weeks। I I think you do that for 1 or 2 weeks, and then let us know how you feel. From there we can take you to the next step. आगे क्या करना है।
जी
तो ये
थैंक
अभी आपकी जो एनर्जी है ना, इतनी ज्यादा स्ट्रांग, और इतनी, मैं बोल रहा हूँ ना, मेरे गले में इतना दर्द हो रहा है ना इस समय आपसे बात करते हुए, और जब आपने बात शुरू की ना मेरे गले में तभी से दर्द होना शुरू हुआ। इससे पहले सब ठीक था। बहुत कुछ अटका पड़ा है आपके अंदर, बहुत कुछ अटका पड़ा है, एंड आई एम फीलिंग दैट इन माई ओन बॉडी राइट
यू।
नाउ।
Yeah, yeah. And just another thing, Simran, ki आप जो भी इमोशंस फील करते हो, सो डोंट रिजेक्ट दोज इमोशंस। सो ये जो चीज है कि उसको स्विच कर देना है, कि नेगेटिव फील हो रहा है तो उसको कोई कोई भी पॉजिटिव चीज से स्विच कर देना डायरेक्टली। ठीक है, वो अच्छा है, बहुत अच्छा है, लेकिन वो नेगेटिविटी के रिजेक्शन में अगर होगा देन यू आर ओनली सप्रेसिंग योरसेल्फ, क्योंकि वो सच है। ठीक है, और सच को आप कैसे छुपाओगे? अगर आपके घर में कूड़ा है तो कूड़ा है, राइट? आप ये बोल सकते हो कि हाँ मुझे कूड़ा अब साफ करना है, आई टेक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी फॉर दैट, बट कूड़ा है तो है ना। तो वैसे ही जो भी इमोशंस हैं वो तो हैं, वही हैं, आ रहे हैं तो आ रहे हैं ना, वो तो उस मोमेंट का सच है। सो जस्ट दिस थिंग कि डोंट रिजेक्ट योरसेल्फ, क्योंकि ये जो चीज हुई है कि वट एवर यू हैव गॉन थ्रू, उसमें भी तो रिजेक्शन ही है ना। अब आप भी अपने आप को रिजेक्ट कर दोगे तो हाउ कैन वी एक्सपेक्ट कि और भी लोग हमें एक्सेप्ट कर लें? सो पहले हम अपने आप को तो एक्सेप्ट कर लें, अपने इमोशंस को तो एक्सेप्ट कर लें। Yeah. Cool. So, about today's session, there was one more thing one very small thing which we wanted to include, and everybody was asking in the group that how do we heal through these mother wounds? So, iska process is very similar to, not very similar, is the same, which is the 3-step process which we talk about. And you do the journeys which we have created, or you work with anybody. These 3 things are going to come up. right? So the first step is bringing right awareness. फॉर एन एग्जाम्पल, जैसे कि हम जब त्रिशा के केस के बारे में बात कर रहे थे, और व्हेन वी वर टॉकिंग टू निधि एंड वी वर टॉकिंग अबाउट हर केस, सो बीइंग अवेयर ऑफ what exactly the wounds are, what exactly the triggers are, what exactly your emotions are. So the first thing is becoming self-aware. So पूरी awareness लानी है, extended awareness लानी है, expansive awareness लानी है. Just a moment. Yes. So expanded awareness लानी है कि चल क्या रहा है actually, what exactly is going on. वो awareness आने के बाद when we realize, okay, this is the wound and this is what I have inherited, this is the codependent pattern, this is the people pleasing pattern, this is my inability to set healthy boundaries. So now we move to the second step. We move to the second step of acceptance. Now acceptance is always of the present moment. Acceptance हमेशा practice सिर्फ present moment में की जा सकती है, right? So what is the state currently? What exactly is going on? Acceptance of the past and how it is impacting in the future right now. Seeing things as they are and bringing acceptance to what is there, and also bringing acceptance to um, that this is not all of me, right? And that is exactly the space where we move on to the third step, which is taking action or applying. So for an example, if we don't set healthy boundaries, or we have fear of abandonment, or we have fear of rejection, then taking the right step in that direction. If that is coming from the space of powerlessness, then taking actions and to be more precise, doing things differently, right? So when you were pleasing people, so you decide that this is the time when I make a conscious choice of not to please anybody, and I'm going to choose differently this time. And taking the right actions. Right actions means the actions which are coming to you intuitively, coming to you from your heart, coming to you very clearly, right? And you are clear, but then actually moving forward and taking those actions. Now, actions would not be complete without acceptance. Actions would not be complete without the right awareness. अगर हम actions लेने लग जाएंगे without understanding the right, without bringing the right awareness to what exactly the problem is, then we have not actually solved the problem, right? So इसके लिए it is very important that we first become aware why I react the way I react, right? And bringing complete awareness. So this is the process, and whatever process you follow in the world, these three points are going to be a part of it, because it will not be complete without any of these, right? So as we had discussed in the group, I wanted to share this with all of you. Now going forward, first of all, thank you so much, all the people, especially Nidhi, Trisha, and Simran, for sharing your own life stories with everyone. And now, if anybody has any questions, please go ahead and ask.
Yeah, I want to ask
want to say
Amika.
something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Please.
So I wanted to ask, like, whatever we have suffered or we have gone through in our childhood with our parents' behavior. So can we, when we are not able to express those things, because that time we were not able to express, right? Right now, at the present moment, we are aware and we know so many things. But that time when we were unaware, so do we attract those type of people only who will do the same behavior with us, and still we will not be able to express because we were not able to express that time and we were not taught to express? Because I was always as a childhood asked to don't argue or don't question, shanti bana ke rakho, like ek chup mein so sukh sort of thing. I have heard a lot from my parents, and then I attracted same Like who also used to say me like this, like if there was a fight between me and my husband, then I used to hear out the same sentence. चुप में सो घर में शांति बनाए रखने के लिए you have to keep quiet, and that ultimately bottled up so much that I became an angry person. And then when I speak in anger, like before, like getting awareness of these things, then I used to ask myself why I behave like this, why I'm always angry. I used to feel that anger in my body, like the karma was telling, similar, I can sense that. So in my voice, in my tone, in my behavior, every time those anger would be like so visible. People used to tell me that there is so much anger. But then I was not able to express, and I was not aware why it is like that. And I'm like questioning myself to why I'm like this. Then sometimes people actually, my closest people only, actually labeled me as like, you are mentally sick, you are mentally not well, you need treatments. And that made me more angry. So then I suddenly, 3 years back, 4 years back, I suddenly got into this line via got like so many coaches, and now I have awareness of all these things. But yeah, I have experienced. So my question was like, when we, as a childhood, when we experience all these things from our parents, we attract same kind of people who behave the same way with us. The pattern
Yes.
is all.
Yes. Yes. We attract the same kind of people. I will explain it to you one step ahead. Why we attract the same kind of people is because they feel home.
But tell me one thing, why we attract? Like marriages are
But you
like
will
we
not
have,
feel
that was like
attracted
arranged
to
marriage,
other.
right? So how do I have attracted that family? I have not attracted because the marriage happened as a what do you say? Not the love marriage, arranged marriage. So how I have attracted those type of people in arranged marriages? You can understand what I am trying to say?
Absolutely, absolutely. So this would
Yeah.
sound more philosophical and esoteric now, but that is just the nature of life. Okay, and this doesn't really seem like a practical answer, but that's how life is. Because see, if you are now we'll have to get into energetic and vibrationally how we operate. So the thing is that if you have not learned a certain lesson and you're vibrating at the same energy, then you're going to attract the same kind of people who will complete the puzzle with you on that vibrational frequency.
But I have not chosen those, attracted those people. Those were made as a choice of my parents, which I had to agree to that.
Right. So you had to agree to your parents, so that was one choice that you made. Right, and that is actually the
no
testimony. So
no.
you are saying it's not possible that you didn't have a choice. So you did not take a step at that point of time. So now you have attracted another person with whom you have to take this step. So that's just, that's how vibrationally.
This again brings us back to the topic of self setting healthy boundaries. आपने नहीं किया, आप जो भी था जैसे भी था, हाँ नहीं थी, ठीक है,
because we always were taught to keep quiet and to shut our mouth.
हाँ, तो नहीं किया तो करेक्ट. तो अगर इसी चीज को हम रिवर्स करें, लेट्स से कि अगर आपने ये उस समय सीखा होता और ये किया होता, तो हो सकता है कि शायद आपकी अरेंज मैरिज किसी और से होती जो बेटर रहता, या फिर नहीं होती, लव मैरिज होती, या कुछ भी होता. इट इज मोर अबाउट कि उस टाइम पे ये आपने चॉइस ली और लाइफ का लेसन था कि यू हैव टू लर्न हाउ टू सेट हेल्दी बाउंड्रीज, बट यू डिडंट नो कि लाइफ इज प्रेजेंटिंग यू विद दिस प्रॉब्लम. वो क्वेश्चन पेपर नहीं पता चलता हमको कि ये क्वेश्चन पेपर मिल गया और इसका हमें आंसर भी लिखना है, हमें नहीं पता. तो वो हुआ, बट लाइफ का जो लेसन है जो आपको लर्न करना है वो तो रिपीट होके आता रहेगा बार बार आपके आगे। तो वो लोग चेंज हो जाते हैं। अब पेरेंट्स थे उस टाइम पे, यू डिडंट पुट योर फुट डाउन और पुट सेट हेल्दी बाउंड्रीज, तो आप किसी और के आगे करना पड़ेगा। वो भी नहीं करोगे तो फिर और किसी के आगे करना पड़ेगा। तो ये तो चलता रहेगा, जब तक नहीं करोगे तब तक वो लाइफ का लेसन कंप्लीट नहीं हो रहा है, और जब वो कंप्लीट होगा तो वहां से आगे की लाइफ ही डिफरेंट होगी।
I have always faced that emotional, let's say, void inside me, and emotional. My elders were never emotionally there for me. Emotional availability ही नहीं थी, like कि किसके आगे क्या express करना. So I always suppressed and I never expressed anything. It was just वो एक self talk ही चलता रहता था, like mind.
हाँ हाँ हाँ। तो वही है, तो वो घूम रहा है। तो कभी तो लाइफ में किसी पॉइंट पे आके तो आपको ये स्टेप लेना पड़ेगा कि अब बहुत हो गया, अब आई नीड टू टेक कंट्रोल ऑफ दिस थिंग फॉर माई सेल्फ एंड आई नीड टू डू समथिंग डिफरेंटली। और वो जब भी आप डिफरेंटली करोगे तो वो जो भी लोगों को उससे काम बन रहा था वो लोग तो अपसेट होंगे ही उससे, बिकॉज दे डोंट लाइक यू चेंजिंग। उनका तो काम बनता है कि यू यू बी सबमिसिव, यू लिसन टू एवरीथिंग व्हाट दे आर सेइंग एंड ऑल दैट। आप अपने आप को एक्सप्रेस नहीं कर पा रहे अगर हेल्दी। और यहाँ पे हम कुछ ऐसा नहीं बोल रहे कि किसी को कि आपको रिबेल बन जाना है एंड ऑल दैट। नो, वो भी एक
at one point of time I
वो भी
became
अनहेल्दी
rebel
एक्सट्रीम।
because जब वो इतना भर गया था तो I became a rebel person, angry,
हाँ,
rebel,
करेक्ट करेक्ट, तो
irritating,
वो भी अनहेल्दी
shouting.
है।
तो वो भी
हाँ, वो
लेबल
भी
मुझे
अनहेल्दी।
मिला कि you are mentally
एग्जैक्टली
unstable.
एग्जैक्टली एग्जैक्टली, सो दैट इज, मैं यही बात एग्जैक्टली यही पॉइंट है कि हम एक एक्सट्रीम देखते हैं, फिर उसे एक्सट्रीम से उठ के हम दूसरे एक्सट्रीम पे चले जाते हैं। तो both extremes are unhealthy. Doing this way or that way, both of them are unhealthy. So healthy part is in between, जहाँ पे आप assertive बनना सीखो, not aggressive. तो वो assertiveness लाने के लिए हमको एक certain state में आना पड़ता है पहले, जहाँ पे दूसरा उस चीज को रिस्पेक्ट करने लगता है, अपने आप वो रिस्पेक्ट आने लगती है कि हाँ ये है। तो अभी तो आप दिखते नहीं हो, अभी तो देर इज नो, यू आर नॉट देयर, यू आर इनविजिबल। तो इसलिए जो जैसा चल रहा है वैसा चल रहा है। तो वो असर्टिवनेस जब आप लाओगे तो उसमें भी आपको लेबलिंग मिलेगी, तो वो भी होगा, वो भी प्रॉब्लम है, क्योंकि जिन लोगों का काम बनता है उनका तो काम बनना बंद हो जाएगा। तो वो तो है, वन वे और दी अदर यू हैव टू डिसाइड कि एट व्हाट कॉस्ट। जो मैं निधि को भी बोल रहा था, कॉस्ट आपको डिसाइड करनी है। ऐसे ही रहने की भी कॉस्ट पे कर रहे हो, चेंज होने की भी कॉस्ट पे करोगे, दोनों ही चीज़ों की कॉस्ट पे करने वाले हो। ये तो कॉज एंड इफेक्ट का यूनिवर्स है। यहाँ पे कर्म करोगे तो भी कॉन्सिक्वेंस आएगा, नहीं करोगे तो भी कॉन्सिक्वेंस आएगा। कॉन्सिक्वेंस से तो हम छुटकारा पा ही नहीं सकते। अगर आपको ये लगता है कि मैं कोई कर्म नहीं करूं तो उससे मैं कॉन्सिक्वेंस से छूट जाऊंगी, वो तो पॉसिबल ही नहीं है। नॉट टेकिंग अ डिसीजन इज ऑल्सो डिसीजन। So you deciding this way or you deciding that way, both ways you are going to face the consequence. You have to decide कि कौन सा consequence मेरे फायदे का है, it is going to support me, nurture me, serve me, help me. This is the decision for me. अब ये डिसीजन मैंने ले लिया है, ये मेरे लिए सही डिसीजन है, दिस इज गुड फॉर मी, दिस इज गोइंग टू सपोर्ट मी, दिस इज गोइंग टू सर्व मी, दिस इज गोइंग टू नर्चर मी। दैट डिसीजन देन यू हैव टू स्टिक। और इसके भी कॉन्सिक्वेंस आपके आगे आएंगे। वो डिसीजन नहीं लोगे, ऐसे ही रहोगे, इसके भी कॉन्सिक्वेंसेज आपके आगे आ रहे हैं। कॉस्ट यू हैव टू डिसाइड। वो तो हम नहीं बता सकते आपको कि कौन सा डिसीजन आपको लेना चाहिए, बट यू कैनॉट बाईपास द कॉस्ट, यू कैनॉट बाईपास द कॉन्सिक्वेंस। You have to decide which one you are able to handle. She's dropped
Neelu,
out.
yeah, Neelu dropped out.
Pragya, you want to say something? Your hand is up. We can't hear you, Pragya.
You're not audible, Pragya. I'm not sure if she can hear us.
I think she can because she unmuted herself, but we can't hear her. So Pragya, maybe try logging out and coming back in.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you are.
Yes.
थोड़ा weak है, but we can hear you.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead. Okay. She's like, I'll just wait for her to come back. Anybody else has anything to say while we wait for her?
We still cannot hear you, Pragya.
Okay. I will drop the message.
No, we can
Okay,
hear
we
you
can
now.
hear you now.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So shall I speak?
Yes,
Please,
go ahead.
please.
Yeah. This is regarding many times we hear life lessons. So when do we differentiate and when do we understand that right now we have learned this life lesson so that the same episodes don't get repeating again and again? And when they are happening, we understand, okay, fine, we have not understood the life lesson. So, I mean, when do we understand? When do we realize that we have learned the life lesson?
तो आपके क्वेश्चन में ये आपका आंसर है. जब आपका लाइफ लेसन समझ में आपको आ जाएगा तो वो इंसिडेंट अपने आप क्यों नहीं बंद हो जाएगी. अगर वो अभी भी
Okay.
हो रहे हैं तो यू हैव नॉट लर्न. सी ऐसा
Okay.
पॉसिबल है कि मे बी यू हैव लर्न द लेसन बट यू हैव नॉट अप्लाइड एनीथिंग.
हाँ.
हम
Okay.
नामिका बात कर रही थी ना कि learning is so 3 steps she talked about contemplation. So you completed contemplation, you understood and everything, but without action उस contemplation का क्या फायदा. आपने
हाँ.
सीख लिया सब कुछ, आपको पता चल गया हाँ मेरे को हेल्दी बाउंड्रीज सेट करनी है, हाँ मेरे को अभी सब समझ में आ गया, बट हेल्दी बाउंड्रीज तो सेट की नहीं किसी के साथ, तो फिर क्या सीखा.
हाँ. Okay.
तो ये
Okay.
थ्योरेटिकल वर्ल्ड थोड़ी है, ये तो वर्ल्ड तो इसमें तो हमको एक्शन तो लेना है ना. बिना एक्शन के थ्योरेटिकली थोड़ी जीते हैं हम, प्रैक्टिकली जीते हैं ना.
हाँ.
हाँ, तो
Right.
प्रैक्टिकली वो चीज इम्प्लीमेंट करने लगोगे, एक्शंस लेने
So
लगोगे तो
when
वो
we will
चला
start
जाएगा.
applying it? Yeah. Okay. Fine. Trying to get it. Yes. Fine. Thank you.
ठीक है.
Cool. Thanks, Pragya. Anybody else has anything to say? It's 7 o'clock, so we will wrap up the call otherwise.
I think we are done. So let's wrap up the call.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks everyone for joining.
Guys, thank you. We'll
Yes.
talk
See you
next
all